Om Shanti and welcome. I would like to give some background about how I came to this topic. Somebody came and the first thing they said was, I have attachment issues. So I thought, okay. So the attachment issue was, I get attached and then I become dependent, and then for some or another reason, I get hurt. And they said that this has been a recurring pattern in their life. And I'd always known, and I'd known and heard and been brought up with this concept that attachment ultimately, at some point, gives sorrow. And I started to think about this now, that how can attachment give sorrow? Because we don't think of attachment as a vice. We think of anger as a vice. We think of ego as a vice. Greed also, jealousy, lust. These things we can understand that they are vices. But how can attachment be a vice? And if I'm not careful, then yes, it can become a pattern. So the first thing we need to tackle, we need to sort out or be very clear about in our mind, is that attachment is not just to people. Attachment can be to opinions, ideas, people, even position. I remember somebody came many years ago and they were suffering from depression. Why depressed? Because beautiful family, enough money in the bank, and good health, good physical health. So why the depression? The reason for the depression was he'd lost his job and he was very attached to that job, to that particular position. He had the position of manager in a big company. And for whatever reason, that job no longer existed. It was taken away from him. So it took so long to overcome attachment to that position. I was a manager. It took so long to get a new job. Why? Educated, healthy. But why took so long to get a new job? Because any job below manager was painful, was a struggle. And so we do get attached to a certain position that we hold. We become attached to possessions. And another something that we're attached to, and more so since social media has come into play, we are attached to an image of ourselves. Because media, advertising, marketing, you name it, it displays an image. It markets that this is how we should look, how we should be, how we should eat, what we should eat, where we should eat. So we have an image of ourselves that we become attached to. And the other thing that we're attached to is certain habits, particular habits, that this is how I do things. And don't ask me to give this up, because it's either this way or no way. There's a saying, no, either my way or the highway. Either you get lost or you do it my way. So we can all find out from that list of things that what is it that I am attached to? Then the next thing we need to clarify is what are the symptoms of attachment? It's like when there's a disease, there are certain symptoms associated with that disease. And so whether you call attachment a vice or you call it a reoccurring disease, there are symptoms. So one of the symptoms is worry. Worry is very, very much attached to attachment. And what is there worry of? There is the worry of, if it's a possession, then there's a worry of losing that possession. If I'm attached to a person, then the worry is that, okay, I am attached to them, but they might not be attached to me. And that causes a lot of sorrow. When my feelings are not reciprocated, they're not returned, then it becomes very painful. It's a cause of sorrow. And so worry is a big thing in attachment. We're continuously worrying about what we're attached to. I'll give you an example. Supposing I send my attachment a message on WhatsApp and I don't get an answer. If I'm not attached, then it wouldn't bother me. That maybe for whatever reason, they're not answering immediately. Sometimes the answer isn't clear to them. Sometimes they don't have time. Sometimes they don't think it's necessary. And so it's like if somebody sent you a statement, then you don't think it's necessary to respond. So if I've sent a message to the person I'm attached to and they don't reply, what happens? We start having waste thoughts. One is worry and the other is waste thoughts. What kind of waste thoughts do we have? They're ignoring me. They're not answering me on purpose. Wait till I meet them. This is not right. This is so rude. At least they should answer my message. Why are they doing this? These are all waste thoughts. And waste consumes energy, consumes thought energy. Another sign of attachment is clingy. Person who is attached is very clinging. And nobody wants to be controlled. Neither do they want to be that somebody should cling to them. Because when we become clingy, then what are we doing is we are suffocating the other person. It's really suffocating for them when we cling to them. In clinging, everything we do is connected to them. So if we're happy, then we want them to be happy. If we're unhappy, they should also know that we are unhappy. Everything I am doing, thinking, saying, listening, speaking, it becomes connected to the other person. So what happens in attachment is I'm always thinking of that person. But not necessarily I'm thinking good thoughts about them. I'm not having bad thoughts, but I'm not having good thoughts either. It's thoughts which are either wasteful or worrying, or in attachment, there is one word we will learn in this today's session. We will learn words which are connected to attachment. And one word which is very much connected to attachment is possessiveness. We become possessive of whatever it is we are attached to. We firstly desire. In attachment, how do desires get connected? Attachment does not come without desires. Where there's attachment, there will always be some or the other desire. And if that desire is not fulfilled, if that desire is not catered to, then I am disappointed, or I am hurt, or even angry. When my desires are not fulfilled, it leads to anger. So this is also, anger is also another form of sorrow. So from today's session, what I want to get across is how attachment causes sorrow. Because not necessary that the sorrow is immediate. It might be after a certain while. And so in attachment, initially I feel happy, initially I feel good, but then a sorrow that if that attachment is not being catered to, if it's not being looked after, if it's not being maintained or sustained, then there is a sorrow. Attachment lasts not forever. Attachment does not have a long life. Somebody once asked me many years ago, their spouse had died and they'd lived together for 50 years. They were married for 50 years. And the spouse died. He had become old, obviously, and also sick. So they asked me that how can you expect that we've been living together for 50 years? How can you expect that there should not be any attachment? And so this is where I bring in love. There is a great difference between love and attachment. So that's one thing we will look at a little later on. But now we want to finish the symptoms of attachment. In attachment, if by chance somebody says something about the person I am attached to, so supposing I'm attached to a friend or a daughter or son or something, if somebody says the slightest thing about the person I'm attached to, I will not be able to handle it. I will not like it. I will react. It will create like a fever within me. And the words we will use are, how dare they say something like that? But if they say something about somebody I am not attached to, then you won't get that same reaction. Then it'll be water off a duck's back. But if I'm attached to somebody and somebody says jokingly or maybe seriously, then I will find it hurtful. They're saying something about somebody else, but I find it hurtful. So supposing I have a sister and they say something about my sister, and I know what they've said is true. I know what they've said is just a little joke or a small comment. If there's attachment, I won't handle it. And if there's no attachment, it's fine. I'll probably say the same thing as well. I would probably agree that, yes, she's a little lazy or she's a little bit irresponsible. Now, that's if somebody says something about the one I'm attached to. If they say something bad about me, that depends now. If they say something negative about me, does it hurt, or can I brush it off? Can I let it in one ear and out the other? Can I ignore it? Whether it's true or not, let's put that to one side. If somebody says something bad about me and I hear from a third person, or maybe they say it to my face, can I remain calm? Because what I've seen is when somebody says something about you, it becomes a crisis in our life. We make it a big deal. We react very badly. We can't handle it. And so we are attached to our own image of ourselves. That how dare they say what they said? We live in a world where there's freedom of speech. And so this is the first test, the first examination we face on our journey, because we're all on a journey. If we're on a spiritual path, our journey is slightly different. But regardless, we are all on a journey. The journey is from birth to death. So we will talk also more about this journey and how, whilst we are on this journey from birth to death, there is also another journey that we must make, which will help us a great deal. When this person said to me that they get attached and then they get hurt and then it causes a lot of heartbreak, is the word, then I started thinking, that does the world, do people encourage attachment? To school, to parents, to psychiatrists, does the world encourage attachment? And I was thinking about myself. When I was at school, then they encouraged independence. Stand on your own 2 feet, have your own career. This is what I find is encouraged in the world today. That be independent. I don't think people encourage attachment. Yes, love is encouraged, but there's a great wall between love and attachment. And so, where there's attachment, alongside attachment is dependency. So this is attachment, when we're attached to someone or something. Now, the problem with attachment is, this is A and this is B. If something happens to A, supposing they're not well, or they're going through a crisis, they're going through a hard time, because of my attachment, whatever they are going through, I will feel it amplified. I will feel it multiplied. They might be going through 10%, I'll feel it more because I am attached to them. Many people, think there's nothing wrong with this attachment. And the words that they utter are, naturally, I'm attached to my children. Naturally, I'm attached to my husband. Naturally, I love my parents. And we think that attachment is natural. If it's natural, should it give me sorrow? Should there be heartbreak and hurt? Because when I'm attached, whatever A is going through, B feels it. B senses it more than A. Is there a solution to this that we can all agree with? Now, the opposite of attachment is detachment. Detachment does not mean I don't care. Detachment does not mean I am cold. Detachment does not mean I am aloof. All detachment means is this. You still can love A. B can still love A, or A can still love B. But what we've done is we have provided space. Detachment means there's a space, there's a gap in between. Now, space is something every human being wants. The opposite of space, you'll hear these words from people, I need my own space, I need time. So the opposite of space is when we are suffocating, when we are controlling, when we want them to do as I say, when we don't want them to be independent. They should be dependent on me. And if they're not dependent on me, if they don't do as I say, again, there's sorrow. Detachment can be on different levels, but there is always space in between. So now, supposing this is situation A and this is situation B. The space can be varied. I can be this close, I can be this close, or I can be this far apart. The benefits of detachment. We're looking at attachment, but we also need to look at detachment. In detachment, one great benefit is that I can see the whole picture clearly. There is no blur. When I am very close, then everything is a blur. So you will see that those who are attached, or if I am attached, then my mind is blurred. I cannot see the whole picture clearly. I cannot see what is good for both parties, A and B. So one conclusion I think everybody would agree with is that society encourages independence. And society doesn't tell us to become dependent. Any form of dependency, whether it's on a drug, whether it's on caffeine, whether it's on a person, whether it's on a possession, any form of dependency makes the soul weak. And not only does it make it weak, it makes it subservient. What happens is, as children, we're in a family, and then we grow up, and our aim, whilst we're growing up, is to become independent. You see teenagers, they're just waiting, they're just craving for when they'll be independent. And so from their family, they become independent, they go out to university, they get a job, etc. All of these things happen. But whilst these things are happening in uni or at work, we become attached to a particular person. We become dependent on them. We've claimed independence from our family unit, but we become attached to another person. And so dependency makes us weak. When I am weak, what is the quality of my decisions? How is it that we become subservient? We either want them to do as I say, or we do as they want us to do. Like I said earlier, in attachment, everything becomes connected with the person I am attached to. Happiness, sorrow, food, going out, everything becomes attached to them. Everything becomes connected to them. And like I said earlier, attachment has desires. Attachment is not without desire. In certain relationships, if I am not attached, then there's a feeling of guilt. For example, mother and daughter. If there is no attachment, if she's doing her own thing, mother is doing her own thing, if there's no attachment, we think this is wrong. We think that there should be attachment. There's a difference between having a close bond and attachment. Earlier also, I spoke about that there's a difference between love and attachment. When there's love, you give. So what is it that we give when there's love? We give space. We give respect. We give love. We give good energy. We give good vibes in love. But when there's attachment, attachment takes. Whoever it is you're attached to, you will see that they have a nature of wanting, wanting, and wanting. And what happens is it becomes much wants more. But yes, the person you're attached to is giving time and energy, and there's some kind of relationship. But in attachment, the clinging, the worry, the feeling as if not being loved. So I want more. They're giving so much, he or she, whatever, whoever it is, but they want more. In attachment, I am never, ever satisfied in the relationship. And sometimes it causes a lot of heartbreak. The purpose of any relationship we have, even if it's a colleague at work, I'm going to say 3 words. And these 3 words, Daddy Janki used to share a lot. She loved these 3 words. The 3 words are to care, to share, and inspire. This is what we do in relationships. We don't cling, we don't become possessive, because when we're possessive, it's mine. The word mine comes up a lot. But in caring, there is sharing and inspiring others. And so the purpose of relationships is, yes, to care, share, and inspire. But what is it that I'm sharing? We are sharing love and happiness. That is what we share in relationships. I'm going to introduce you to 2 words, inclusive and exclusive. You've heard these words, these are not new words. But when there's attachment, I want that person's attention exclusively. Exclusively, they should spend time with me, they should talk to me, they should be with me. It's all exclusive. I don't want a third person in the picture. But when our consciousness, or when our thoughts, or when our consciousness expands, then the word inclusive comes in. We're not excluding others so we can have exclusive time, but naturally, organically, beautifully, we include others. And it's not just A and B. There's an A, B, C, D, E. And so it's like there's a family feeling that we are one. And not until I include others into my circle will I feel family. Family doesn't mean parents and brother and sister, and that's it. Family means, because on one side we do say that we are all children of God and we are all brothers and we're all a coat of many colors. We've all heard these expressions. but it means to invite, to include others, maybe into your conversation, maybe to have a cup of tea. And what happens is not only in order to include, do I have to expand my consciousness, my awareness that we're all one, but we get introduced to many different personalities. And it's not then what happens is it becomes interesting, it becomes lively, it becomes fun. And this is the meaning of spirituality. Spirituality means inclusive. It's not just one individual, but the whole world, the whole street, the whole community are my friends. And I can reach out to anyone. Many people think that the opposite of powerful is weak. And I agree. Yes, the opposite of powerful is weak. But there's another opposite. The opposite of powerful can also be waste. Might take a little while to make that connection, but we can have something which is powerful, and the opposite is something which is wasteful. So, for example, powerful thoughts. I'd like to introduce you to one spiritual thought, and it's worth practicing, even if you're not into spirituality, but this realization or this awareness, I am a powerhouse. I means I'm referring to the being, not the human, not the physical and flesh and bones, but the powerhouse is making these flesh and bones function. Without the soul, the powerhouse, this body cannot function. So to incorporate these spiritual thoughts into your day, into your situations. Spirituality is not exclusive to some people, because many have this idea that spirituality is for certain people and I am not spiritual. No, we are all spiritual. Why are we all spiritual? Because we all are spirits. We have no choice but to be spiritual. When we're not feeling spiritual, definitely we are feeling uncomfortable. We're not feeling connected to ourselves. We don't feel love for ourselves. And we become uncomfortable, is the word I'm going to use. So, to incorporate spiritual thoughts into my life, I am doing myself a favor. Why? Because the soul, the being, or you can say the spirit is working 24/7. Like I said, it's a powerhouse. It makes this body function 24/7. Now, if somebody is working 24/7, non-stop, mind is working, my intellect is working, and I don't say thank you. I don't give any time or attention. I don't even glimpse at how I, the powerhouse, am working. When we neglect the inner being suffers. The inner being struggles. So it's necessary that I give myself a look in. I said I'd talk about love and attachment, and I've already mentioned 2 or 3 things. One is love gives, attachment takes. This is the major difference between love and attachment. The other thing is that it's very necessary that I love myself. The only way to become free from attachments is to love myself. But how can I love myself if I don't know myself? You might think that how is it possible? We all know ourselves. We know ourselves, the physical. We know the inner workings of the body. We know our age. We know our gender. We know our achievements. We know our positions. We know our possessions. We know all of these things. But do I know the inner being, the soul? Why is it necessary to know the soul? Because it's the soul that holds my core values. The core values of human beings: love, peace, happiness, purity, power, wisdom. Our core values are held within the soul. When I am disconnected from these values, then there is no question of loving the soul. You will only love that which is clean and beautiful and powerful. How many people have you seen who love dirt, who love rubbish, who love whatever, the dirt or whatever? When I see people seeing dirt, they'll pull a face. If a room is dirty, people pull a face. Oh, it's so messy here. We pull a face at external rubbish or dirt, or even if something doesn't smell good, we pull a face, we put up our nose or whatever. The same applies to the self. If I cannot see that beauty, if I cannot see those core values, which are my goodness, that's my inner goodness. If I cannot connect with that, there is no way I can love myself. Even if I do say, okay, I love myself, but I'm not connecting with my core values, then it becomes ego. I'm loving the external, the position, the bank balance, the looks. I can love all of that also. But when that gets taken away, or when that changes, when that is not praised, then I can't love myself anymore. So, first step is, if I want to connect with my core values, then I need to sit in silence. I'm not talking about hours on end. I'm talking about whatever time you can spare. I know we're all busy. We're all busy. We have no time. But when I give time to myself, it's actually an investment. We're interested in investing money, investing time, because we want the dividends, we want results. And so sitting in silence is an investment, because in that silence, I connect with my core values. You might think I've gone off track. We were talking about attachment. Now I'm talking about core values. Why? Because how many of us can put our hand on our heart and say, I love myself? There might be defects or faults or shortcomings or weaknesses, but regardless of that, I love myself. It's not that I attach to an image of myself, but I love myself means I love the being that I am. And why do I love myself? because not only am I full of goodness, but I am also connected to God. God and goodness go together. Now, in one particular scripture, the Sikh scripture, attachment is called a vice. There are 5 vices, and attachment is also one of them. So why is it called a vice? Because ultimately, attachment leads to some form of heartbreak or the other. At the same time, it can be overcome. This word vice, it's a tool which is used in carpentry. Those who studied carpentry will know what a vice looks like. So what this vice does is it's a tool, and you've got the wood, and you put the wood into the vice, and whilst you're working on the wood, the vice is gripping. It grips the wood very firmly, very strongly. So this is what vices are. They have got their grip on us. So the vices, greed, anger, attachment, lust, ego, whatever, jealousy, laziness, they have a grip on us. It's like I'm not free from them. The effort, the inner work is to become free from the vices. Now, if the vices have us in their grip, how can I become free? So something I just shared a few minutes ago, loving myself, but loving that which is good, loving the values that I have within me. Firstly, if I want to connect with God, if I want to experience God's love, then I have to connect with my own inner goodness. And I can't turn around and say, well, I don't have any good in me. Many people I see do that. They turn around and say, there's nothing good about me. I am spiteful. I get angry. I hurt other people's feelings. I give sorrow. So how can you say there's something good about me? Regardless of all of that, regardless of any rubbish that I can see in myself, any negativity that I see in myself, there is good. So to free myself from attachment, not only so somebody's asking me a question, I'll answer that question in a minute. So to be free from attachment, not only do I have to look at my own goodness, at the same time, I also have to see good in others. And that doesn't mean just seeing good in one person in particular. It means I'm seeing the good in every individual I meet. I'm seeing the powerhouse. I, the soul of a powerhouse. Try these words. I am a powerhouse. And so attachment can be overcome, but I'm not going to work on the attachment. I have a choice. There's the good that I have within me, and then there's the vices that are also there within me. So these two are there. The difference, the good is innate. It's there. It's intrinsic. It's like when you buy a phone, then there are certain apps which are already installed in the phone. So the good, the peace, the love, the happiness, the wisdom, purity, power, it's already installed in the soul. It's there. Then you have the acquired apps, what you install. So then the acquired apps are anger, greed, attachment, ego, lust, etc., etc. So those are alien. They are from out there, and they become part of me. I have a choice now because they're so connected with each other. Means what is happening is the vices are covering the good. The vices are covering it so well that you cannot see any glimpse of the goodness. It's hidden. It's there. The treasure is hidden, but we don't know the password. It's like there's that story, no? Open Sesame. So the password was Open Sesame. But what is the password to reach that treasure, to reach that good that is there within me? So the password is that whatever I want, whatever I, the soul, am made of, that is what I need. The soul is made of values, core values. It's made of the qualities, the good that we have. And so whatever I need, whatever I, the soul, need, I just have to say it. I am a peaceful soul. If I want peace, I am a peaceful soul. If I want love. So now the word here that's going to create a lot of problems is want. It's not that I want, because if I want, again, that makes me dependent, that somebody else has to give me what I want. No. It's not that I want. Want indicates desire. I am peace. I am love. I am happiness. I am. Whole day we use this word, I am. And we have something after this word. So I am hungry, I am tired, I am fed up, I am rich, I am poor. We use this word a lot, I am. But it's the word that we put after the I am that is the most important. It defines us. It tells us our identity. Many people suffer what is called identity crisis. But look at your language, look at the way you think. I am, and then decide what word are you going to put after the I am. So when we practice spirituality, then the word we put after I am is I am peace, I am love, I am whatever I want. That is what I am. I'm not begging, I'm not searching, I'm not wanting. Now, again, let's go back to attachment. Earlier I said that in that particular scripture where it says that attachment is a vice, and then they also go on to say that attachment blurs our perspective. We cannot see clearly when we're attached. And so always you will see where there is attachment, there is an error in judgment. Our decisions are harmful. The sorrow that attachment brings, one is heartache and the other is harm. So if I am attached to a particular substance or something, it will do harm in the long run. In attachment, what happens is we have forgotten the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is not rocket science. The truth is not something that we don't have access to. The truth is that we came into this world alone and we all leave alone. So why is there attachment? When we know we are independent, we have come alone and we will go alone. Not only do I come alone and go alone, I also come without any organs. And I receive organs in the mother's womb. That is where the organs are formulated or created or whatever. It's not something I bring with me. So these eyes, these arms, these legs, everything I receive from this physical world. This is called matter. And so matter receives from matter. To become attached to matter is not healthy. The body is made of matter. But when I become attached to matter, then what will happen is I will struggle. I will find it difficult because what happens is we forget the truth. When we die, we leave matter behind. We don't take it with us. The body remains behind. And other people, friends, family, have to dispose of the physical body. Excuse me. So this word, love, is misused a lot in the world. We use it, this word, how am I saying it's misused? Because we use it a great deal. I love pizza. I love ice cream. I love my puppy. I love this outfit. I love my handbag. I love these shoes. So what are we talking about at that time? When we say I love pizza or I love my shoes or whatever, my heels or whatever, then what is happening at that time? Have you noticed that in today's world, people love things? We love things and we use people. Whereas actually the reality should be, I love people and I use things. So what's happened is become topsy-turvy. We use people and we love things. Now, no human being likes to be used. And we say about others, if they're selfish or whatever, we say, oh, they're a user. They just use people and then they don't talk to them, they don't acknowledge them, they don't thank them. The question that was asked recently on this platform was, isn't loving yourself selfish? Because I talked about loving the self. Is it selfish or is it a necessity? If you don't love yourself, then is it possible to love another? Think about it for a second. If I don't have self-love, then what is the quality of the love that I have for others? It will be a taking type of love. I'm lacking, I want from you. But when I am not lacking, when I love myself, then whether other people love me or not, whether you're getting love from other directions or not, it becomes irrelevant. And when you start to love yourself, there will be another love which becomes accessible to you. And that is God's love. You will feel God's love more when you love yourself. If I don't love myself, I will never ever feel God's love. Many people say they don't feel God's love. And the reason for that is there's a huge blockage. The blockage is from my side. The blockage is ego, negativity, dishonesty. All of this becomes the blockage. And so not until I've removed these blockages can I experience a flow of God's love. Because that's what love is. It flows. It doesn't possess. It's always moving. Every day I will feel it, and every day there will be more. I won't want to hold on to it. Think about it. Supposing you see a butterfly somewhere. Beautiful butterfly. Do you have the desire to possess that butterfly? I want that butterfly. It's so beautiful. And you think, I want it. I want to take it home with me. You won't. Why not? Because when it's not yours, then it's flying. It's spreading its beauty everywhere. Everyone can admire it. But if I claim it and hold it in my hand, and if I say, okay, this is my butterfly, it will not live long. It doesn't live long at all. Nature is like that. You'll see our purpose of life. I, the powerhouse, I also have a purpose in life, and the purpose is to fly, to go beyond barriers. When I say to fly, it means to break barriers, break the barriers of gender, of age, of nationality, of religion. These are barriers that don't allow us to fly. The physical body also becomes a barrier. And so to go beyond the physical, anything physical, to go beyond and fly, and I reach a place, a beautiful place called home. And in that place called home, it's beyond everything physical, beyond sound, beyond action, beyond movement. It's a world which is still and silent. And here I reclaim my inner power. We have lost power. We have become weak because we've attached ourselves to certain things or people. I need to reclaim my lost power, and that is only possible when I reach this place of silence, this place of peace, this place which is beyond the physical. Now, how will I do that? It might feel like I'm talking very impossible things, but no, it is possible. And in this, you need two abilities, which we already have. One ability is to travel. And the mind has this capacity to travel. We can sit here and go to any part of the world. We can go to Dubai, Spain, wherever, with our thoughts. Without moving from this place, I can travel. So I have the ability to travel. And wherever I travel to, I visualize that. So if I travel to Spain, then I'll visualize the beach in Spain or the beautiful fruits that are there in Spain. And so I've traveled and I visualized. That becomes an enjoyable experience. Now, in meditation, I'm using these two same abilities. I travel upwards. I don't travel anywhere in this physical world. We do that anyway. But I'm traveling upwards, and I use the power of visualization to visualize what is there upwards. And I'm not talking about the star, the sun, and the sky, because those still fit in the physical. I'm talking about a place beyond. And you probably know it more easily as nirvana, the soul world. That is the place where I can collect power, where I can be myself. I can be that peaceful being that I am. And so this word love, not only is it misused, it's also misunderstood. Many people think of love as a commodity, that it needs to be given and taken. Love is not a commodity at all. Love, many people see as an emotion. But love is something deeper, because there's a difference between human love and God's love. What does human love do and what does God's love do? The purpose of God's love is to purify, at the same time empower. Does the love of human beings empower us, or does it make us weak? Does it make us dependent? God's love doesn't make us dependent. God's love empowers. And so the more I allow myself to experience God's love, now I've given you one method, that we travel and visualize beyond the physical, where God resides. For some, they might find that very difficult, which is fine. There is another method. And that other method is, if I can't come to you, then you say to God, God, why don't you come to me? But in order to do that, I need to develop a relationship with him. Because when you're close to somebody, when you're friends with somebody, then it's very easy to say, look, can you please come to my place today? I can't come to yours. I'm busy. I'm this, I'm that. I'm not feeling well. Why don't you come to my place? And so where is my place? My place is here, the being, the powerhouse. And so I'm inviting God to come to my place, to sit with me, and we have a conversation. We talk to each other, and I experience God's love. Because God cannot be separate from love. You all heard the expression, God is love. But you'll never hear the expression that God is attachment. We can become attached to God, and we will not lose out in any way. We will not get hurt in any way. But if we're attached to human beings, definitely there will be some or the other form of hurt. Now, in this physical world, in this planet that we live on, there is a system. There is a way things are done, and it's very automatic. It's very organic. So that is that love is always shifting. Love is always moving. So how does that happen? For example, when a child is born, then that child clings to its mother. It only knows its mother. It only knows its immediate family. So it receives love from the immediate family. And that same child, if you ask another person to hold it, it starts crying. And you think, well, what's wrong here? Nothing is wrong. But love is for the mother. That same child grows up a little bit, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As he's growing, then there will be a shift in love. So where will the shift be to? The shift is now to the friends at school or whoever. So even though the mother is in the picture, she has not left the picture, but the energy, where they want to be, where that child wants to be, is now it wants to be with its friends. So even if the mother's calling that child, that please come home, it's time for tea, let's stop playing now, it's late, etc. So the mother is calling the child, but the child wants to play. The child wants to be with its friends. This is that same child who clung to its mother. But what is happening is natural, it's normal. Because if a 6, 7, 8-year-old is still clinging to his mother, then psychiatrists and psychologists get involved in that case, that why is it still clinging? It shouldn't be. It should be out there playing. So then that same child, as it grows older, then again, the love will shift, and it will shift to there'll be an exclusive partner, or there'll be a particular person in its life, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And that is again considered normal. And they get married, and that's considered normal as well. So the mother is there, the friends are there, but the shift has happened. And then after it's married, that child's love transfers to his own children. Yes, the wife is there, whom he loved very much, but love is transferred to his own children or her own children. And all the others are still there, but love is always transferred. So, why do we say that attachment causes sorrow and suffering? If I'm still remembering, oh, that they really loved me so much, we were so close, and etc., then we will suffer because we will feel they have left us. It's not that they have left us. Love is transferred. We are still in the picture, but they want something else. The needs have become different. It's normal. It's natural. It's natural that a child will want to grow up and leave home and explore the world, etc. So human love is very different to God's love. Human love is not wrong. Human love is not bad. Like I said, it's misunderstood and it's misused. Excuse me. Now, if there are any unfulfilled desires, then those desires unfulfilled, even they will cause sorrow. So it's very necessary that I start to get to know myself. If I want to be free from attachments, then the first step, the biggest step I have to make is I have to be brutally honest with myself. And in that honesty, I have to admit that there is attachment. I don't have to shout it out to the world. It's something I acknowledge to myself, that there is attachment, and do I want to get rid of it, or am I happy maintaining it? Some people I've noticed, they're very happy to maintain or sustain their attachments. When I say I want to get rid of attachment, I don't mean that we get rid of a person or a relationship, we break a relationship. No. The relationship has to remain, because it's in relationships that there's caring and sharing. It's in relationships that we share love and happiness. And so being honest with myself is that, do I want to be independent? Some cultures frown upon independence, that girls shouldn't be independent, they need to stay at home, etc., etc. But what do I, the soul, the being, want? What do I need? What do I need for my own growth? So our growth is when I can connect to my inner qualities, my goodness, but at the same time, I'm seeing that in others also. I'm seeing good in others also. If I'm not seeing other people's core values, then there won't be any growth. Is it possible that I can be full of all virtues? Is it possible that I can have all qualities in me? Yes, it's possible. It's not that I just have 2 or 3 and I don't have any more. Others have this one and I have this. It's not like that. We can become full of all qualities when we see qualities in others. All means everyone I meet, I see what's good about them. I see something special about them. I see that they have some particular talent or they have something special about them. And when I see that, I take it on board. So very easily and very quickly, I become full of virtues. I remember once one sister had come to visit our London branch and she'd stayed for a couple of months. She was from another country. And when she was leaving, she wrote a letter to the head of the organization. She wrote a letter to Daddy Janki. And in that letter, she wrote down the names of all the people she'd come into contact with, means who she had some interaction with. And within that, she wrote down the individual's name, and then next to it, she wrote down the specialities of that person, what she'd learned from them and what she'd seen in them. And when Nari Janki read this letter, she said, nobody has ever done this. Means it was such a beautiful idea to write down what is good in the people who are in my vicinity, my contacts, or whatever. It might feel, how is it possible? But what will happen is our outlook changes. It becomes a challenge to see good in others. We are so used to seeing others' defects, what's wrong with them. They're like this, they're like this. But if I want to be free from attachment, you might not understand the connection right now. But if I want to be free from attachment, then it's necessary that I see good in every single person and not just the person that I'm attached to, because that's what tends to happen in attachment. I can only see good in one person, and I can't see anything good in others. But this is a challenge. This is a homework. This is something that it's a necessity also, I would say, in becoming spiritual, is to see good in others, regardless of their background, regardless of their profession, regardless of their education. See what is good about them. I remember somebody saying to me once about somebody else, that have you noticed they always cover up other people's mistakes? Isn't that a good thing? I said, yeah, that's true. They do cover up others' mistakes. And so it's not that I have to have a name on the speciality that they're patient or loving. No, there are other things also. Everybody has something unique about them. And I remember seeing this letter. Daddy showed us this letter, which the sister had written to her, and said, can you write something like that? Would you be able to say 5 good things about one particular person? When there's attachment, then we tend to latch on to that person, and that person becomes everything for us. That person, we're taking from that person continuously. Like I said, the opposite of attachment is detachment. And that is what you will find in dictionaries, etc. But another opposite of attachment is love. I don't know if you would use the word opposite, but you've got attachment, and that is excessive, unnecessary. It's excessive, it's unnecessary, it's a burden. Whereas love, there's a saying that love will set you free. Love makes us free. What is it that we become free from? We become free from desires, from expectations. We become free from so many things. We become free from opinions. We become free from being controlled or wanting to control. Love is just giving lots of space, giving respect. This is necessary if I want to experience love. Once somebody said that they don't have love within them, that they are very dry. They're not able to do things that other people do, like, make something nice for somebody else. They said, why should we do it? And so they said, I'm a very dry person. I'm not resentful, but I'm boring. I'm not into all of this love and all of that. They said, this is all, it's the word they used in Hindi, it's faltu, which means it's unnecessary. If I cannot share, because love means to share. If there is love, the outcome of that love, the result of that love, the symptom of that love is sharing. And the proof that I love others is that I will give. So supposing somebody you love, you lose them through death or whatever happens, maybe they go away or whatever. Then, if I love that person, the proof of my love is that I will honor them. I will not badmouth them, but I will honor their existence. I will honor them means I will be grateful that they were part of my life. I will be happy that I knew them. Because sometimes we love somebody, and especially now because of COVID, we lose also. But here what helps is the knowledge that I, the soul, am eternal. I don't die. So if I'm not seeing you in this birth, I'll meet you somewhere in my journey. So there's all these journeys which are happening. This journey from birth to death. And whilst there's this journey from birth to death, at the same time, during that journey, I make the journey from the physical to the spiritual, from I, the soul, and connecting with the Supreme Soul, and the journey of connecting with other souls also, the outward, the interaction. This faith that we will meet again. You know, when someone dies, sometimes we say, we will meet somehow, somewhere, not necessarily in the same costume with the same name, but we will definitely meet because we've created a bond. We've created a connection. There is love. And so attachment and love are two very different things. And so I'd like to finish here. I don't know if there are any more questions. Are there any questions that anybody has? Within attachment, there's something called craving. And not until that craving until it's been fulfilled, will I feel content. But somebody asked me, what is the root of attachment? Why do we get attached? And the reason is because we don't feel secure in ourselves. Because of that insecurity, we tend to latch on. And so being secure in my identity, this will then prevent the attachment. When I'm insecure, I don't want people to see my insecurity. I'll feel embarrassed or I'll feel I'm lacking in some way. So we hide our insecurity. And how do we hide? Either we hide through displaying something we're not, which is ego, or we hide our insecurity by latching on to someone or something and using that as a cover-up. So the root of attachment is insecurity. I just saw the question that can we get attached at any age? 100%, definitely. Even at the age of 60, 70, 89, we get attached. And the reason for that, one reason I said insecurity, but another reason is also empty. When I am empty, means I don't have anything, then we attach ourselves to somebody who can fulfill me. We want to fill that emptiness. Call it emptiness or call it loneliness. It comes to the same thing, lonely or empty. When I am full of the treasures that I am, then you will see those treasures, those values, those virtues, whatever you want to call them, they do the work of a magnet. And that magnet, what does a magnet do? The magnet attracts, the magnet pulls. So when I'm activating those qualities, when I'm allowing those qualities, those values to come to the forefront, when I'm acknowledging them, when I'm saying, yes, I am peace, I am love, that magnet will attract like-minded people. You will not be lonely if you activate those qualities. Those qualities become company. And so attachment does hurt. There is hurt involved in attachment, but I can overcome that hurt. I can go past that hurt. The one who I am attached to, if they're no longer in my life, I've lost them for whatever reason, it's not that I start hating them or I start not thinking of them. It's necessary to honor that soul. To honor them that, yes, I have learned so much from you. This is love that I have learned from you. Attachment will say, why did you leave me? I'm on my own now. Who will support me? So there's a difference in the language of love and the language of attachment. Love will say, thank you. Love will say, have a safe journey. It's like when parents see off their children who are going to university, what words will they use? Have a safe journey. And attachment has a very different language. Attachment says, you should stay with me. Attachment says, I don't want you to go anywhere. Even if you're suffering, stay here. Sometimes, like I was telling the story of the couple who lived with each other 50 years. And the wife asked me, how is it possible that we don't become attached? I said, it's not that you don't become attached. It's that you're not taking sorrow from his departure. And you're not giving sorrow to the other one either. His departure was necessary. Why was it necessary? Because they were suffering. They were old and suffering. So it's not a question of, well, how can you say we shouldn't be attached? It's a question of, okay, they've gone. What am I doing for them now? Am I moving on in life? Am I grateful for what they've given? So there's a big difference between love and attachment. Om Shanti. Is there any more questions? I think time also is a constraint. Okay, so we'll do a moment's meditation and I will meet you all again soon. Om Shanti. Thank you. So there's a question, how do we beat our insecurity? Okay, that's a big topic, that's a big subject. How do we beat our own insecurity? So my next month's talk, the topic is beating insecurity. So I'll see you then. Om Shanti.
And there's a couple of questions. I think we'll have to take them next time.
So one was, how do we beat insecurity?
Is it okay to grieve?
It's necessary to grieve. Not only is it okay, it's necessary that but not with a feeling of sorrow and sadness, but it's a feeling of honoring that, yes, they were beautiful, they were wonderful, they were great, but they have moved on and we will meet again. And whatever love you feel for them, it's our duty that we give them those vibrations of love. And at the same time, it's like when somebody departs, then we have to give them a gentle push because they're also remembering us. They're also lost. They're also in no man's land because they haven't taken birth yet and they're missing the family that they've left behind. And so my support is not sadness. My support is saying, I'm okay. I wish you well. I know you'll be safe and happy. I know you've got such a good account of good karma, and that's what you've taken with you. I know you'll be well looked after. You'll have a healthy body. So there is so much we can say to that soul with the power of our thoughts. And so this whole topic of grievance is again a big topic, and yes, we will take it up. But now I've already promised that our next month's topic will be beating insecurity. Thank you.
I say one more thing. Somebody said, can we say exclusive with God and inclusive with all?
Very good, very nice, very beautiful expression. My love is exclusive with God and inclusive with all. Very beautiful. Thank you. So now we'll do a moment of meditation. Shanti.